So on this episode of Eat Your Veggies, I thought it'd be a good thing to cover changing major chords to minor chords. So it's a pretty basic thing to do, but not everyone would understand the concept of how it's done. So let's take a look at some simple chords, and let's start off with an E major chord. So here's an E major chord. If you don't know already, all major and minor chords are built just from three different notes. They're called triad chords. So there's only 3 different notes happening here. Even though we're playing 6 strings, we have a bunch of duplicates, okay? Some higher versions, some lower versions of it. And just to give you an example, we have the notes E, B, E, G sharp, B, and then E again. So just 3 different notes. Now we can convert this to an E minor by changing an interval known as the major third, by changing it to the minor third. Now, if you know how to play an E minor chord, you're probably just saying lift up that finger and it's E minor, which it is. But why is it like that? And it is because of the major and minor third. So that one note is the major third. If you notice, when I went through the notes, there was only one G sharp and there was multiples of everything else. So we just changed that one G sharp to a G note, or major third to a minor third, and now we have a minor chord. We can see this in lots of chords. If we play an A major chord, if you play an A major chord like I do, with your pinky finger, ring, and middle, you can very clearly see which one is the major third, because it's the one that we changed to make A minor. So that means that that's our minor third, and that note is our major third. We can identify these in a D chord. So a D chord isn't as easy to find the minor and major third because something tricks us. Here's a D minor, here's a D major. Because we change multiple fingers to accommodate the chord, it looks like we're playing something completely different. But we're not, we're actually only moving one note. Here's a D major, here's a D minor. But it's much more comfortable to play it like this. So, there's our major third, there's our minor third. And when we're changing from D major to D minor, that's actually the only note that changes. So we can bring this into bar chords. So if we have an F chord, for example, well, our major third is actually right here, this G string, our middle finger. So if we want to have an F minor, we just lift up our middle finger, and that gives us F minor, because that's the only major third or the only minor third in the chord. We can do the same thing with other shapes. So if we have a bar chord that is built off the A string, here's a D minor chord. A bit confusing if you're getting into bar chords, because if we use that same shape and we started on the low E string, it's a major chord. And the middle finger is the major third. But when we bring it down and we have the bar chord start on the A string, it's different. That's actually the minor third there, and the major third is here. So to change from D minor to D major, we have to play everything the same as it is now, but we have to raise this one by 1 fret. And we can do that by doing this, or by the more popular bar chord version. Again, it looks like a big change that we're making, but we're just changing one note. Now, to be fair, with this version, we're actually cutting out the high E string, because the high E string is pretty tough to get without getting in the way. So if you want to play the full version, you have to do this. It's a barred A chord. There's the full bar of a major chord. Here's the full bar of a minor chord. Let's take a look at a C chord. So have you ever played a C minor chord? An open chord, C minor. Here's C major open. You probably played a C minor bar chord. Okay, but have you ever played a C minor open chord? let's find out how to do it. So we have to look for where the major third is. It's actually right here. So we have to drop that note down by 1 and hold everything else where it is. And that gets us a brutal chord to play. It's really not fun at all. So that would give us our pinky finger on the A string 3rd fret, our index on the D string 1st fret, the G string open, and our middle finger on the B string 1st fret. And we would not be able to use the high E string. And the reason why we can't use the high E string is because that E note is the major third. Okay, so that note here from the original C chord, that's an E. So if we actually want to play a C minor, we can't have any E's at all in the chord. So all E's have to get changed down to E flat. And since we can't go any lower, well, we just eliminate the high E string. So just to make this real short, you can identify where the major and minor thirds are by what note changes. Minor third, major third. Minor third, major third. Major third, minor third. Knowing that information does become important as you learn the fretboard a little better and you start improvising, especially when you start playing lead. So I hope this short Eat Your Veggies lesson helped with understanding the very basics and a simple way of looking at major and minor in chord shapes.